You're standing on a public sidewalk. About 20 feet away, a police officer has pulled someone over. You're not sure what's happening, but something feels off. So you pull out your phone and start recording from a safe distance. Then the officer looks up. He leaves the traffic stop, walks directly toward you, points a finger in your face, and says 4 words that make most people freeze. "Stop recording me now." Most people panic. Their thumb hovers over the stop button. They mumble, "Sorry," and put their phone away. Some even delete the video because they're afraid they broke the law. But here's the truth. They did nothing wrong. In fact, federal courts across the country have ruled that recording police in public is a First Amendment right. But you don't have to freeze or delete anything. Stick with me and I'll give you the exact words to say when an officer tells you to stop recording. You'll learn the 2 and only 2 situations where police can legally restrict your recording, the key court cases that protect you, and how to stay calm and respectful while standing your ground. Before I break it down, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. You do not want to be searching for this video while an officer is standing in front of you demanding your phone. Let's start with why an officer says, "Stop recording me," in the first place. It's not about privacy. Officers performing their duties in public have no reasonable expectation of privacy. That has been settled law for decades. It's not about safety. Your phone is not a weapon, and standing on a sidewalk is not a threat. The real reason is control and evidence. The officer may be wearing a body camera, but he cannot control your phone. He cannot turn it off. He cannot change the angle. He cannot edit the footage. Your recording is independent evidence that no one can touch. That is why he wants you to stop. But here is what the law says. In 2011, the First Circuit Court of Appeals decided a case called Glik versus Cunniffe. A man named Simon Glik was recording police arresting someone in the Boston Common. Officers told him to stop, arrested him, and charged him with wiretapping. Every charge was dropped. The court ruled that recording police in public is protected by the First Amendment. The judges wrote, and I quote, "Gathering information about government officials in a form that can readily be disseminated to others serves a cardinal First Amendment interest." That was not the only case. In 2017, the Fifth Circuit, one of the most conservative courts in the country, ruled the same way in Turner versus Driver. The court said the Constitution is unambiguous on this point. In that case, an officer not only told Mr. Driver to stop recording, but handcuffed him and put him in a squad car. That officer was later criminally indicted. So when an officer says, "Stop recording me," he is asking you to stop doing something that federal courts have explicitly protected. If he forces you to stop, he may be violating your constitutional rights, and in some cases, committing a crime. But here's where people get confused. There are exactly 2 situations where an officer can legally restrict your recording. Just 2? First, if you are physically interfering with a law enforcement operation. Interference means you are actually blocking the officer from doing his job, stepping into his path, getting between him and a suspect, or standing inside a closed-off perimeter. Standing on a public sidewalk 20 feet away is not interference. Standing across the street is not interference. Being close but not in the way is generally not interference. However, an officer may give a buffer zone command. Step back, you are too close. If you are genuinely close, take a few steps back, but keep recording. Stepping back is not the same as stopping the recording. You can comply with a distance command while still exercising your First Amendment right. Second, if you are in a private space where you do not have permission to be. But if you are on a public street, a public sidewalk, a park, or even your own front yard, you have the right to record. Those are public or quasi-public spaces where your First Amendment protections apply. That is it. Those are the only 2 exceptions. Everything else is your right. So now the question becomes, what do you actually say to an officer who is angry, barking orders, and walking straight toward you? The wrong tone can escalate the situation. Silence can be interpreted as defiance. But the right words, spoken calmly, can protect your rights without creating conflict. Here are the exact words. Memorize them. "Officer, I am not interfering. I'm standing on a public sidewalk exercising my First Amendment right to record. I'm going to continue filming. Let me break down why each part matters. Officer, I am not interfering. You're shutting down his only legal argument before he can make it. You are stating on camera that you're not blocking his path or getting in the way. If this ever goes to court, a judge will see that you were standing at a safe distance and not interfering. I am standing on a public sidewalk. You are establishing your legal position. Public sidewalks are protected spaces. That is where your First Amendment rights are strongest. Exercising my First Amendment right to record. You are not arguing. You're not being a YouTube lawyer. You're simply stating a constitutional fact that every federal court already recognizes. I'm going to continue filming. This is a statement of intent, not a question. It puts the ball in the officer's court. He now has to decide whether to respect the Constitution or violate your rights. Now, what if the officer pushes back? He probably will. He may say, "I don't care about your rights. Turn it off now." Here's your calm response. I am not in your way, and I am not interfering. I'm going to keep recording. That is my right. Stay firm but polite. You're not yelling. You're not using profanity. You are simply repeating your position. What if he threatens to arrest you? He might say, if you don't stop recording, I'm taking you in. Here's what you say. Officer, I am going to continue to record and exercise my constitutional rights. If you choose to arrest me, I will not resist. Why is this powerful? Because you are not escalating, you're not resisting, you're simply warning him that if he proceeds, he is inviting a lawsuit for violating your First and Fourth Amendment rights. The phrase, I will not resist, also protects you from any charge of obstruction or resisting arrest. What if he demands to see your phone or demands that you hand it over? He may say, give me that phone. You say, Officer, I do not consent to a search or seizure of my phone. Under the Supreme Court case, Riley v. California decided unanimously in 2014, police generally need a warrant to search a cell phone. Your phone is not just a device. It contains your private information, your communications, your entire life. Saying, I do not consent, preserves your right to challenge any search later in court. Let me give you a full example of how this conversation might sound. Officer says, stop recording me now. You say, Officer, I'm not interfering. I'm standing on a public sidewalk exercising my First Amendment right to record. I'm going to continue filming. Officer says, I don't care, turn it off. You say, I'm not in your way, and I am not interfering. I'm going to keep recording. That is my right. Officer says, give me your phone. You say, Officer, I do not consent to a search or seizure of my phone. Officer says, I will arrest you. Or you say, if you choose to arrest me, I will not resist. Now you have a complete record. You have been calm, respectful, and clear. You have not broken any law. You have simply exercised your constitutional rights. Now let me summarize the exact phrases you need to memorize. When an officer tells you to stop recording, say, Officer, I am not interfering. I'm on a public sidewalk exercising my First Amendment right to record. I'm going to continue filming. If he pushes back, say, I'm not in your way. I'm going to keep recording. That is my right. If he threatens arrest, say, if you choose to arrest me, I will not resist. If he demands your phone, say, Officer, I do not consent to a search or seizure of my phone. Practice these phrases at home. Say them out loud. When you're standing on a sidewalk with an officer walking toward you, you do not want to think. You want your mouth to know what to say automatically. A few more practical tips. Always record with your phone held steady. Do not wave it in the officer's face. Do not shout or use profanity. Keep a reasonable distance. If the officer tells you to step back, but keep recording. You're complying with a lawful order, distance, without giving up your right to film. Also, know your local laws. Most states have laws protecting the right to record police in public. But even in states without explicit statutes, the First Amendment, protections from Glik and Turner apply nationwide. Remember, your phone is the single most powerful tool you have to hold police accountable in real time. When everything goes right, no one needs the video. But when rights get violated, your video may be the only evidence that shows what actually happened. And remember, none of this is legal advice for your specific situation. Laws vary by state, and court interpretations can differ. If you are ever charged with a crime or have questions about your specific encounter, consult a local attorney who knows the judges and prosecutors in your area. If this video helped you understand your right to record police, hit that like button right now. It helps more people find these videos when they need them. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an update when I post new breakdowns of police interactions and your rights. And drop a comment below. Have you ever been told to stop recording? What happened? I read every comment, and I will see you in the next video.